G'day viewers. I think the mum's getting off a bit easy on this one. She shouldn't have put them in this situation. Obviously, this kid's been a trained swimmer. They look pretty strong, but mum has put them in a situation. She hasn't done the weather forecasting or anything, and this is the result of what's happened.
I love the sound of that because that's what I was hearing when I was out there when they came to find us.
And that's a rescue plane flying over.
As the plane circles overhead during this interview, Joanne Appleby, a mother, is taken straight back to the day everything changed. She and her 3 children had drifted into trouble off Quindalup in Western Australia's Jokerup Bay.
Okay, so let's have a look at Quindalup and what's going on there. Okay viewers, that's Quindalup there. I'll just back out a bit. Down the southern end of Western Australia. I mean, not a very good place that you would want to end up. Sharks. That's Quindalup there. Just there. It's also reported that they're off Dunsborough, which is Dun Bay. We'll just continue with the story as far as we can. Just bear it with me for a minute.
Them, 13-year-old Austin. The boy had been kayaking and paddleboarding with his mother and 2 siblings when they were pushed offshore. The 13-year-old tried to kayak back for help, but the inflatable was up against it in choppy water. Austin then swam for 4 hours to raise the alarm.
Just before we go any further, let's just find out about the waters off Quindalup. Well, the shark database tells us that there has been no fatal shark attacks recorded in Dun Bay. And that's between recordings between 1791 and November 2025. But there have been 312 fatal shark attacks in Australia during that time. 59 have been since 2000 to 226, including 24 incidences since 2020. But no fatal shark attacks are recorded on the shark database in Dun Bay, which is very fortunate for this young bloke.
I just keep swimming. I do breaststroke, I do freestyle, I do survival backstroke. I just said, all right, not today, not today, not today. I have to keep on going. I was more thinking of a lot of things that, you know, was happening in my life. I think at one point I was thinking of Thomas the Tank Engine.
At sea, his mum and siblings had been clinging on to their paddleboards for 10 hours.
We kept positive and we were singing and we were joking and we were falling in a lot. The waves got bigger.
Austin eventually reached shore, called 000, then collapsed from exhaustion.
So what happens in Dun Bay, viewers, is the wind, they have severe afternoon sea breezes, and I'd say they got caught by the sea breeze, which has, they can get up to anywhere up to, well, 30 knots, but the average is between 15 to 25 knots. I'd say they've got caught pretty badly on a onshore breeze, which is blown offshore at Dun Bay, coming in from the coast. Dun Bay sort of protects the, it's got like a point, but the winds, I would say, it's come across from the Margaret River direction, from the ocean direction, and pushed them out, possibly offshore. Would have had offshore in it, and that's what's happened. They've been blown out to sea very quickly, to their surprise.
A multi-agency rescue operation was launched, locating the family and bringing them safely home.
There'd be a lot she'd have to answer for instance, what the bloody hell did you have them out there for like that? you've got no experience with the ocean, this kind of thing would have had to have been brought up, and I'm sure she'd never do it again. They won't tell you this on the media, but she would have got spoken to.
I have 3 babies. Excuse me. all 3 of them made it. That was all that mattered.
The boys are due back in the water for a school swimming carnival tomorrow.
Pretty good
but Mum
swimmers.
says that can wait, at least for now. Christopher Tan, SBS World News.
And I'll just add this to this side of it, given that it's got to do with the ocean. Listen to this, viewers. It's pretty interesting on how they're going to deal with the sharks on the other side of Australia, on the east coast, Sydney area. Let's have a look.
Well, Sydney's shark summer appears far from over this morning, with multiple alarms over the weekend forcing swimmers out of the water at several beaches around the city. That includes closures on the northern beaches at Palm Beach, Bungan Beach in Newport and Mona Vale, along with Manly and Balmoral on the harbour side, and South Maroubra in the city's east as well.
And it's left swimmers wondering, is this just the new normal? Well, for more, we're joined by Dr Chris Pepperneff, shark and public policy expert at the Uni of Sydney. Good morning to you.
Now, the interesting thing, the question was asked, viewers, is this the new normal? And I want you to take very close attention to how they're going to deal with the new shark population and the way in which they're starting to threaten the lives of the people of Australia on the east coast. This is their answer to the problem. The question is, let me say it again, is this the new normal? What a question. Not how you're going to deal with it or what are you going to do. Is this the new normal? I'm in the ocean all the time. Let's see what this guy has to say.
It just feels like these shark alarms are not stopping. How long is this going to last?
So I think this is the new normal.
Really?
Right. So I think this is the new normal. So you've got these greenies that are not going to deal with the shark population. I think this is a new normal. In other words, you're going to swim out there and jeopardize your life. We're not going to try and prevent it. That's how it is now. Listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more drones are going to be deployed. The government's investing the 4.2 million. So now we know they're going to be 90% more drones than we have this summer.
Viewers, this guy's an American. He's not an Australian, for starters. Oh, God. A drone will spot a shark, but it can't prevent the shark from attacking you if it's headed in your direction. They can warn you. Another thing is, these drones are not going to cover all the coastline. I mean, who is this person? Why don't they just do a commercial cull? They'll regroup. They've regrouped now, and see what happens.
And so we've got to be aware of shark alarms, and I love shark alarms. I want a
Hang on a sec, mate. Oh, we got to be aware of shark alarms. Shark alarms were there long before he come along. A shark alarm is also not going to help prevent you from being attacked if you're one of the unlucky ones that has a shark on top of you before you know it. Sharks do get spotted and the alarms go off, but sometimes they don't get spotted and people get killed. You can see the guy there, the reporter, he doesn't look, neither does she, they don't look convinced, and you can see he's in defense mode, his body position, because he knows there has to be a cull. Right? It's not good enough what he's saying. There has to be a cull.
happy surf lifesaver when it comes to the shark alarm.
They don't look convinced at all. See the look on their faces? That'd be the look of all Australians that know how the ocean works. What the hell are you saying? This is the new norm? You're just going to leave it the way it is? At one stage, they were going to take out all the shark nets and all the rest of it. But because of the attacks, they've gone, oh no, we better not do that now. Too many people are getting killed. You can't trust the government's viewers.
It's a positive thing, but it is going to be a new normal.
Let's just go back a little bit there. Look at the look on their faces.
It's a positive thing,
That's a positive thing. Is it? I don't think so. Look at her. That's a positive thing. I don't think so. And the bloke's going, what is he saying?
it is going to be a new normal that we're going to have to get used to.
No. Who is this guy? This is a new normal that we've got to get used to. You've got to be kidding. We're going back, right? We're going back before shark prevention days. Why do you think they brought the shark nets? Why do you think they used to catch the sharks? To prevent people from being slaughtered and eaten by them. They're the terrorists of the ocean. Oh, but they belong there. Well, yeah, they do, but there's got to... Yeah. Oh, God. No. No. We're so out of order. Oh, God.
To be safe than sorry. Just take us through...
Better to be safe than sorry. They've thrown that out the window.
All the warnings recently have been about the weather and how the water has been murky, there's been sewerage runoff, all of that sort of stuff, and the sharks are more active than ever. However, we're 2 weeks after that moment now, and the sharks feel more prevalent than ever.
So
see, it's not murky. Well, murky water and stuff like that's going to make you more vulnerable. The problem's the shark numbers. The numbers of sharks now have become dangerous.
we're not out.
He's struggling to find an answer. Look, how am I gonna?
So
I can't say it's the shark population numbers, because that'd mean we might have to do a cull. So I'll say this instead.
we're not out of it yet. The conditions are better and they look better to us, but they're not exactly resettled. The ocean hasn't completely resettled.
That's crap. That is absolute, utter crap. I'm in the ocean nearly every day of the year. Oh, come on. Oh my God.
The big storm and whatnot. And it's still summer in Sydney, and the bull sharks are still here, and the water temperature is still elevated.
The bull sharks are going nowhere. They're there all year round.
So we should expect that they would be there. So it's important to be aware of that.
You know, that made absolutely no sense at all. Listen to what he just said. Listen to what he just said. All right? Listen to what he just said.
Here, and the water temperature is still elevated. So we should expect that they would be there. So it's important to be aware of that.
Okay, so we're aware of that. We've got sharks everywhere. But how are you going to prevent people from being killed? Well, the only answer, viewers, is to stay completely out of the water. That's basically the answer. You're not safe. He's not going to contribute to making it safe. The drones are only going to help during surf life-saving season. The big great whites come in through winter when the water's colder, even though they're there in the warmer waters as well. No.
We've seen some big bull sharks caught in Sydney waters recently. Is that helping or hindering?
Well, I think...
So she's touching on... There's some big sharks being caught. There's some big sharks being culled. Would a cull be the answer?
Fishing for bull sharks is a bad idea. My whole position has been that the weather conditions sort of created attractants, right? That, you know, there's an underlying number of bull sharks that are in the harbor, but more attractants is a problem. So I think fishing for sharks and putting bait in the water is a bad idea. So
okay, right. So he's just contradicted the drum lines. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Lord, who are these people? And why are they doing this? The drum lines, well, I'm going to have to stop just here and we'll go to the drum lines. Okay, so he doesn't advise baits in the water. What do you think a drum line is?
Less than a week after a teenage surfer was attacked by a shark on the New South Wales north coast, the government there is promising to ramp up its beach protection measures. It's announced it'll boost the number of smart drum lines used to tag and relocate sharks. But some say the drum lines are a waste of money.
At Lighthouse Beach in Ballina, these locals are making the most of a perfect spring day. They don't seem put off by the latest shark attack. On Monday, 17-year-old Cooper Allen was bitten on the thigh while surfing not far from here.
We've had 4 major attacks on 700 metres of beach in a bit over 12 months. I think that everybody's saying we need protection.
The state government's been under mounting pressure to find solutions for the North Coast and is hoping this technology, smart drum lines, will provide an answer. It's increasing the number of drum lines from 15 to 100.
We're going to prioritise the North.
That's a big increase from 15 to 100. That's a massive increase.
Coast, and then if necessary, we can run these smart drum lines right up and down the New South Wales coastline.
Smart drum lines use a baited hook to pull a shark away.
What do drum lines use? They use a baited hook. What's the shark professor saying? Don't put baits in the water. Oh God, viewers, can you see what we're at the mercy of? Oh God.
From swimmers and surfers. For the past year, they've been trialled at beaches including Coffs Harbour and Ballina, tagging a total of 36 sharks.
We tagged 2 more sharks this morning, so we know that they're highly effective.
Shark expert Christopher Neff says the state's $16 million program is throwing money at unproven measures.
I think it's ludicrous. I think that it provides a false sense of security to the public.
In recent weeks, the government...
There you go, drum lines give a false sense of security, right? Because the shark can swim straight past a drum line, bait there or not, and the bait could attract them to come into that area. Big baits.
The government was forced to abandon 2 shark barriers that failed on the north coast. Some think nets are the answer, but they're controversial because animals can be killed.
The meeting I had last week with the community leaders in Ballina, we couldn't get a consensus.
The minister says plenty of effective measures are already in place, including using drones and helicopters to spot sharks. Implementing the new drum lines will cost a lot of money.
The contractor will go out in a boat when a shark bites on the hook. They'll race out on a boat and unhook the shark and pull it out into further deeper water. So the whole thing is predicated on a very expensive program.
The government...
See, just because you're pulling a shark out into deeper water doesn't mean it's going to keep swimming away. It could swim straight back in, tagged, ready to attack.
Won't put a price on the program, but says if it saves lives, it will be worth every cent.
Can you see how backwards it's gone, viewers? Don't put baits in the water. They're going to go from 15 to 100. They don't know what they're doing, viewers, really, honestly. My God. It's out of control. No wonder people are getting killed. Okay, let's just quickly look at this.
Western Australia is placing drum
I'm just
lines
going to
along
do
40
this.
kilometres.
I'm going to restart it.
7 fatal shark attacks in 3 years have led Western Australia to start culling large sharks. Activists are outraged, but what's actually involved?
What you'll find is a lot of the activists don't even swim in the ocean.
Will it work? Western Australia is placing drum lines along 40 kilometres of coastline in Perth and the state's southwest. Drum lines are a series of buoys anchored to the sea floor, each with a large baited hook. In Western Australia, they're being placed 1 kilometre off the beach. If tiger sharks, bull sharks or great whites larger than 3 metres are caught, they're killed. Sharks under that size are tagged and released. While Western Australia's catch and kill program has drawn thousands of protesters to the beaches, Queensland has been using drum lines and shark nets for decades, while New South Wales also has shark nets in place. Contrary to popular belief, nets do not prevent sharks from swimming into an area, but are used to catch large sharks, which then drown. In 2012-13, Queensland's program caught more than 700 sharks. Since drumlines and nets were deployed in 1962, there has only been one fatal attack on a controlled beach in Queensland. But shark experts have questioned the link between the measures and the drop in fatalities, saying it's more likely the result of a massive fall in global shark numbers, primarily due to overfishing. Mesh nets and drumlines also entangle animals other than sharks, such as turtles, dolphins, whales, rays and dugongs, some of which are threatened species. Authorities say more than 300 marine animals are caught in shark control programs in Queensland and New South Wales every year, and a third of those die before they can be released.
Here's another spin on what are shark drumlines.
Dr. Paul's research program includes maximising the efficiencies of smart drumlines as a better protection tool and tracking sharks that are tagged to understand their behaviours. So Dr. Paul, tell us more about your current research and what you're finding.
The main component of my research is around smart drumlines and how they can be effective for catching dangerous sharks. And what we call dangerous sharks is great whites, tigers and bull sharks. So they've been used extensively overseas in Reunion Island as part of a bather protection program, and we wanted to trial them along our New South Wales coastline. So
now remember, we're building off the premise not to put bait in the water. We're building off the premise not to put baits in the water because they will attract the sharks. Now if you got one bait, say for instance in a certain area, and it's been taken, now you've got a distressed shark. Guess what that's going to attract? Other sharks.
one thing that meant for us is that we wanted to minimise bycatch by maximising the catch of our target species. So yeah, so far they've been really effective in catching those white sharks especially, and some tiger sharks and bull sharks. So yeah, it's been a great program.
And earlier today we went to sea and we talked more specifically about how these smart drum lines work. So we might look at that footage now. Just clarifying the differences in drum lines.
Traditionally, our drumline programs in Australia and overseas were that we put a baited line in the water, we come back the next day, and most often the shark was dead. As part of our smart drumline program, we're using satellite technology to let us know when that shark is on the line. So that gives us the advantage of we can respond quickly, get to that shark, tag the animal and release it as quickly as possible.
So let's talk about the actual technology in the smart drum.
Okay, so you've caught the shark, they go racing out on their boat. All this is taxpayers' money. They're making a fortune out of it, by the way, that's why they like it all. They tag the shark, they take it 1 kilometre out to sea and let it go again. What guarantee have you got that that shark ain't coming back? None. I'll tell you why, because there's an app called Dorsal, and Dorsal will show you where the tagged sharks are popping up, not the untagged. And they only signal to Dorsal when these sharks are in a predator zone where they can predate on humans.
Explain to us what it actually is involved.
Yeah, the only difference is that we use satellite technology. So when that shark takes the bait, it triggers a magnet inside the actual drumline. It sends a message to satellite, and within 30 seconds we're getting a phone call, a text message and an email to let us know where that location is and then where we need to go to respond quickly.
Wonderful. Dr. Paul, can you tell us exactly when the drum lines are put out and baited and how long they're out in the ocean for?
So our target is to have drum lines or smart drum lines in the water every day of the year, but anybody that lives along our east coast knows that weather conditions means we can't get out every day. But on average, our contractors get out between 22 and 26 days a month, so we have pretty good coverage. What we do is set the drum lines first thing of a morning and we retrieve them late of an afternoon. So we don't have any drum lines in the water overnight with no bait. So that maximises our catches in terms of that when we get to those animals, they're going to be alive.
How many tag sharks have we got from the smart drum lines to date?
So far, the program's been really effective. So we wanted to catch our target species, which were great whites, bull sharks and tiger sharks, and so far we've caught nearly 350 great whites, 60 tiger sharks and 60 odd bull sharks. So yeah, compared that to our bycatch.
And viewers, just remember, these sharks are being re-released into the water. The only difference is they've got a tag. Oh God.
Which is very minimal. It's doing really well.
Can you just show us exactly how it works and talk us through how you actually set those in the water?
Certainly. So the added benefit of smart drum lines is it has this satellite capability of when we're catching a shark. So a traditional drum line would just have the two orange buoys, but when a shark actually does take a bite on our big hook, it pulls on the trace. it triggers the line, and you can see the light there. We get a signal sent straight to satellite. Within 30 seconds of that signal going off, we're getting an email, a text message and a phone call to tell us exactly where this buoy is, where it's located, and every 3 minutes after that, we're getting that receiver through as well. So as a contractor and as a researcher, we can go straight to those drum lines to do part of our scientific research. We actually put cameras on a lot of these drum lines to see what actually swims around them. And whether that be sharks or birds that dive down through the water column down 5 metres deep just to have a look at the bait, or whales just swimming past, or dolphins, there's a range of animals that actually go up to those drum lines. But
I just want to say as well, viewers, don't think that sharks are the only thing being caught on the drum lines. They're not going to tell you that other species are being killed or caught on the drum lines as well. They're not going to tell you that because there's too much money involved. You're talking about millions. People are making millions out of this.
Importantly for us, we want to look at the amount of dangerous sharks that actually swim up to the bait. Do they eat it? Do they bite it? What sort of behaviour do they do before they actually take the bait? It's very important information.
Come on, don't you think we know that by now? So is this actually about preventing shark attacks, or is it a study on sharks? Come on.
Part of our research trials to actually look at how these gears work.
Oh, viewers. Let's just finish up here. We'll let this run out. This is Mr. Expert. They've all he just contradicted the shark drum lines.
Well, I think fishing for bull sharks is a bad idea. My whole position has been that the weather conditions sort of created attractants, right? That, you know, there's an underlying number of bull sharks that are in the harbor, but more attractants is a problem. So I think...
Is it attractants or is it migrative? See, sharks are one of two things. They're territorial and they're nomadic. A lot of the trouble starts when they become territorial and you're in that territory. They're like a dog with the postman that just doesn't like the postman. They'll attack.
Fishing for sharks and putting bait in the water is a bad idea.
Fishing for sharks and putting bait in the water is a bad idea. I'm going to play it again.
For sharks and putting bait in the water is a bad idea. So I don't think we should be going out fishing for sharks right now.
A lot of people are saying the numbers are out of control. We need a cull.
I read my comments. I've seen the same thing, and I appreciate it. And you know, I know DPI is doing an assessment of the stocks. They're not protected. People do fish for them. They do get caught in things, and they get killed. I'm not a fan of bull sharks. I'm especially not a fan of big bull sharks. But culls don't work in other countries.
That's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Full-faced lie.
When they do the culls, if there's an attractant in the water, that's the issue. It's not the number of sharks.
No, it's not. If you've got an attractant in the water and there's no sharks, nothing happens. If you've got an attractant in the water and there are sharks, guess what? Something happens. People get attacked.
So you're saying sharks aren't protected, or you mean bull sharks?
Bull sharks specifically.
Okay. So any kind of cull wouldn't help?
Well, when they've done it in other places, if there's an attractant in the water, unless you kill every single one, it doesn't help. And, not to be technical, but the bull sharks keep the dusky sharks and the bronze whalers in check. So if you do a cull, and let's say you overcull the bull sharks...
No.
Maybe you've got a dusky shark or a bronze whaler.
Do you think that she believes a word he's saying? Do you think that woman believes a word he's saying? No.
Shark or a bronze whale? Where does it end?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Chris Pepperneff, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
If bull shark population increases. What the research does show us, though, is that adult bull sharks use the waters around New South Wales and Sydney quite specifically. The likelihood of detecting these big adults on acoustic arrays in shallow inshore waters increases in the summer. It increases between the hours of midday and 4 a.m. It increases when water temperatures are higher than 20 degrees Celsius. It increases after more than 45 millimeters of rain, and when swell heights are between 1.8 and 2.8 meters. Your males move quickly after that rain, and your females lag behind by a few more days. Those are a set of fairly specific factors there that can be used to facilitate public safety. And if you use that data to create educational campaigns for people, then those people are better able to make informed decisions. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at those people who have been bitten by sharks in this cluster, but you have to ask the question, did those people really understand the consequences of those environmental conditions? What
you've got to realise is a lot of these professional, so-called professional people aren't out on the water. They're not experiencing the numbers.
Another thing that's become a problem is the sharks. Sharks have gotten horrible. Some spots you can't even fish because of them. The shark decided to eat it. And we don't have any more of these jigs that I was fishing. So I'm attempting to catch it to get my jig back because I really do want that jig.
Look at him coming up head first right here. Got that jig right in his face. All right, Braden, you reach down there and get that, would you? So sharks are also closed. And so now we have a shark problem. And there's too many sharks. They eat our fish, a lot of our fish. I mean, a lot.
Another
sharks be cold? That is the big question being asked today after a 12-year-old boy was mauled here at this rock in Sydney's eastern suburbs behind me, and a 27-year-old man was bitten badly in Manly. Former Prime Minister Tony Abbott coming out calling for a cull, while the brother of Mercury Salakis, he was the father that was taken by a shark late last year. He has pointed out that 4 shark attacks in 48 hours is unprecedented, and he wants serious questions to be asked about potential human intervention. We are also learning heartbreaking details about the victims, particularly 12-year-old Nico Antic. He is on life support at Sydney Children's Hospital. His family fear he may not make it, while 27-year-old Andre De Ruta is also fighting for life after undergoing several rounds of surgery, including an amputation to his lower right leg. He is still in a critical condition. Doctors and nurses continuing to treat him, while an investigation into the bull sharks is underway, and even more debate is underway.
Welcome back. Well, former Prime Minister Tony Abbott is calling for shark culling to be reintroduced following a spate of attacks on the New South Wales coast.
More, we're joined by marine biologist Dr. Vanessa Perrotta. Doctor, good morning to you. Nice to see you this morning. It's been an awful...
Now, hang on. Before this starts, I thought it was going to be Abbott who comes straight out and says shark culls. Let's see what this woman's got to say.
A few days, right? How have you received that news in light of these calls for a cull?
It has been a very troubling short period of time, and I make mention to the time period because shark interactions that are negative are very, unfortunately, a low in the statistics, so the chances of it happening is quite low. But
that's... the fact... yeah, right.
that it's happened in such a short period of time means that, A, we're talking about it even more. It's making international news. There are people right now in hospital. It's a terrible situation, but it's also a time where we just need to just stop and take a breather to digest the information that we all need to be informed to think about this in the most appropriate way. And thinking about the words of culling, I mean, that's just probably, in my opinion, a misinformed comment. What we...
Okay, so she doesn't swim in the ocean. We'll give her a miss, Tony Abbott.
There's debate in New South Wales about sharks. You're a surfer. What do you think about sharks? Do you have to kill them?
Well, I'm lucky to surf on Sydney beaches, and beaches in Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong since the 1940s have been protected by mesh. Now, if it's good enough for Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong, for the life of me, I don't know why it's not good enough for the north coast of New South Wales. I don't know why we haven't got a commercial shark fishery up there, because frankly, if it's a choice between people and animals, I'm on the side of the people every time.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Manly Beach in Sydney to find out. And just to make sure I got a response, I came bearing a provocative message.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, what's up?
What do you think about the shark situation these days?
Oh, I think we're swimming in water, so you could expect coming across one.
There's been 20 fatalities in the last 5 years in Australia. Is that too many?
Oh, I mean, we do swim in the ocean, so...
Well, what happened to the snakes that used to live here? We got rid of them.
Yeah, true.
Well, maybe we intruded on the snakes.
So there's been 20 people killed in Australia in the past 5 years. Do you think that's too many?
Well, look, anyone dying is unfortunate, but it's probably bigger issues, I'd say, than the sharks.
You swim in the ocean. What happened to you?
But I think the chances of that are pretty low. It's like asking, what if a coconut falls on your head? Should we get rid of all the coconut trees?
Well, I'm not saying get rid of all.
Now, the difference is a coconut falling on your head is an accident. A shark predating a human is a decision. Unfortunately, as much as we don't want to say that, it is.
Well, sharks, I'm just saying make the beaches safer. It's what we Australians do. We love going to the beach.
We do love going to the beach. We do love going to the beach. We want to make it safe, but I don't know if killing the sharks is the way to do it.
Does he look like someone that swims in the ocean regularly? No.
How else would you do it?
Well,
Is it okay to get rid of the sharks at the beaches where we go to?
I think so.
Why is that?
Because it's their home.
Is a shark's life more important than a human's?
I don't believe that anything should be killed intentionally. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks.
It's their water. I feel like we're their guests.
It's your water too. You love the ocean, don't you?
I do, but I don't live in it.
Yeah, but you surf in it, man. That's what we do. That's what Australians do.
It's true, but that's our luxury. It's not our necessity.
But they can have all the rest of the ocean, but not this bit. How's that sound?
Well, maybe they don't quite get to decide in that manner. I think it might be a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah. There's been 20 people have been killed in Australia in the past 5 years. Do you think that's too many?
Maybe we shouldn't be swimming.
Oh,
we love the
see,
beach.
that's the mentality that you're dealing with.
We're Australians. That's what we do.
True.
He doesn't swim in the ocean, you can tell.
Do you think a shark's life is more important than a human's life?
No, that's not the question I put.
Okay. Just a couple of years ago, a 15-year-old kid was killed at your peninsula in South Australia surfing, just like you do. That's wrong.
That's the risk you take, I suppose.
I've spoken to parents who've lost kids, and they think the loss of their child was preventable. What if it happened to you?
Well, is it preventable?
That's their home.
Oh, for God's sake. Is it preventable, viewers? Of course it is. It's unbelievable.
We share it. We don't have to put nets out. Use your drones and everything else.
What happened to the snakes that used to live here?
Still here.
Well, it's pretty safe to walk around here. There's no dangerous animals living on the land because we got rid of them.
Yeah, he's not going to buy into that. Oh.
Why? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saving lives?
Save the sharks' life. Yeah, save
Why?
Oh, the sharks are more important than the humans. Oh, yeah.
in the ocean.
Is a shark's life more important than a human's?
Yes. Hell
really?
yes.
Why?
Hell yes.
Why?
Because we are included. They live in the sea.
These are people that don't use the ocean, right?
More important. Tell me why we are more important.
Well, we're more talented, we're more intelligent, we love people.
How do you know that sharks don't love people either?
They eat.
How do you know the sharks don't? Can you see the mentality that you're up against?
It's easy to dismiss the human cost of shark attacks if you never encounter it. Peter Edmonds was a 16-year-old student at Alstonville High School in northern New South Wales, who took the morning off during a teacher's strike to go surfing with a friend in nearby Ballina on the 8th of April 2008. He was in the water alone when he was attacked by a bull shark and bitten twice on the leg. He caught a wave to shore and died from blood loss on the sand. 17 years later, his elder sister Kylie describes the horror of that day and the trauma her family, especially their dad Neil, still endures.
I get to Ballina Hospital and I go to open the door and Phil comes over and I just looked up at him and I was like, "Is Peter okay?" And he had tears pouring down his face. And so I walked into the hospital and then Mum and Dad walked out of the store and I just dropped. So they took me into another room and I'm just like, I need to see him. Like, I don't believe that this has happened. So they go, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to see him." And surfing was a big thing of what they did together. And
I've surfed all my life and I've probably put myself alone in some very dangerous situations and I've been fortunate. Let's just look at it, viewers. Hang on. The sirens. Let's just think of it for a minute. 2/3 of the earth is ocean. If you think about the food stocks, right? The food stocks available to the sharks along the beach line, it's practically zilch, right? The percentage of food stocks along the beaches, shorelines is practically zilch, except for the odd bait ball that goes through, usually off the shoreline, for the sharks to prey on. Okay. Is it too much to ask for the sharks to swim outside the breakers? 2/3 of the world is ocean? No, it's not too much to ask at all. But they won't do it.
People who quite casually dismiss the threat of sharks in Australia at the moment and consider what you've gone through as just sort of risk of daily life in Australia. Do you think those people understand what they're talking about?
no, not overly because they haven't lived it.
Peter Edmonds was the 13th of the 55 known fatal attacks in Australia in the 25 years since great whites were protected. Here are all of them, in chronological order, reduced to 2 minutes, including 3 people whose disappearance in the water almost certainly involved a shark, bringing the total to at least 58. You'll notice that the rate of attacks increases as protected great whites proliferate. These are just the fatalities. They don't include the 350 recorded encounters that ended in an injury, 79 of which were serious or resulted in an amputated limb. Some of these attacks would have occurred whether the great whites were protected or not, but equally others would have been avoided had we not allowed these.
Just notice, viewers, that New South Wales hasn't got one at this point. Interesting.
50 recorded encounters that ended in an injury, 79 of which were serious or resulted in an amputated limb. Some of these attacks would have occurred whether the great whites were protected or not, but equally others would have been avoided had we not allowed these lethal sharks to proliferate off our beaches. Every one of these fatalities caused trauma, even in people not directly involved. The parents of kids who regularly go to the beach where the attack happened, for example, also suffer. A mother in Ballina, where Peter was killed, told me during the spate of attacks there in 2015 how distressing it was to see her teenage son run out the door with his surfboard under his arm and wonder, every time, if she would ever see him again. Then, of course, there are people whose child, spouse or parent is never recovered. The father of one young man taken in an attack once told me how nothing had changed in the 25 years since his son was killed, because he and his wife never got to hold a funeral and can't visit his grave. They are trapped in a world where the loss forever feels like it happened only yesterday. These tragedies are becoming normalised in Australia. But should they? That something as consequential as protecting great white sharks would have been debated in federal parliament before it was even implemented. And the first question you would expect someone to ask in that debate is, how do we know great white sharks need to be protected anyway? As it turns out, even the experts weren't sure. A report released by the Environment Department in 2002 admitted the current population status of white sharks in Australia is difficult to assess. But they went along with it anyway because, despite the inadequacies in the available data, there appears to be an overall long-term decline in abundance of white sharks in Australian waters.
No.
There appears to be? Well, that sounds a bit flimsy, don't you think?
Yeah.
The experts based this assumption on 3 indices: the number of sharks caught in protective nets at New South Wales and Queensland beaches, game fishing catches in New South Wales and South Australia, and anecdotal sighting frequencies by tourism operators and divers in South Australia. Remember that word anecdotal, because we will come back to it when the so-called experts use it a couple of decades later to argue exactly the opposite. One of the authors of that 2002 report, Queensland scientist Jeff McPherson, told me in 2017 nobody in the world had any idea of the global population of great whites. People were suggesting that the global population was declining, but in terms of absolute numbers, nobody had any idea. So protecting these things was questionable from the start. The other reason this might have warranted the attention of our elected representatives is the potential human cost of increasing the number of man-eating sharks at our beaches. The Environment Minister at the time was South Australian Liberal Senator Robert Hill. I rang him in July and he agreed to try to answer questions via email about the decisions made 25 years ago. I asked, on whose advice was protection of great whites introduced, and was this issue ever debated in Parliament? He didn't even reply. A search of Hansard yields no evidence of any debate at all. Instead, protection was simply implemented through an automatic process overseen by government departments that would later receive millions of dollars in shark-related research grants.
There you go. It's about the money, viewers, just like the drum lines. You've got the professionals saying, don't bait the waters. The drum lines are baiting the waters. It's all about the money. It's not about human life.
2017 that a more accurate estimation of the trend would soon be available. Our current best guess is that it's going to be a question of a number of years before we can provide an estimate of the trend, rather than a decade. A number of years rather than a decade? Well, it's now 8 years later and the CSIRO still hasn't published a proper scientific analysis of the trend. Meanwhile, fishermen keep posting anecdotal evidence of an explosion of sharks. As George Orwell said in 1984, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Dan Webber is a veteran surfer from Ballina who had a few close calls of his own during the spate of attacks there almost a decade ago, and is now a vocal critic of the state government's flawed approach to preventing shark attacks. He's written extensively on the topic for Spectator Australia, among other publications. He says his scant interactions with scientists at the state's Department of Primary Industries confirms to him that their main priority is sharks, not people.
I don't know why these scientists aren't more concerned about the fate of shark attack victims. It seems like they've lost their humanity, but I don't know that they are evil people. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, because I can't judge what these people are like. That's why I'm more inclined to think that they are serving a purpose which is to do with politics. I have a feeling that they're more concerned with how things look than how they actually function. And so, whereas you could...
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, it's because the environmental lobby is a vocal minority that has a lot of control over the government, and unfortunately the silent majority doesn't seem to stand up for us. They're just not interested in the victims of shark attacks. The families, the suffering, we experienced the whole community suffering for 2 years. It was extraordinary. It was tormenting. We would hear helicopters overhead every day. Every time you heard a siren, you think, oh my God, who's next?
When you say they're more interested in how it looks, what impression are they trying to give?
They call it a dual objective, the dual objective of protecting sharks and people, okay? And as far as I can tell, they can't do that.
What's the solution, in your opinion? You've done a lot of research into this topic, you've lived in it, you've lived it, you've seen it happen. What do you think the solution is?
Well, what I'd like to see is honesty by the government. It's quite obvious that you would have to reduce, and I think they know this, that you would have to reduce the number of sharks in order to cut down on the number of shark attacks. It's as simple as that. And it's just unfortunate that it's going to take another 10 shark attacks before the penny drops.
The New South Wales government's main and most expensive method of trying to minimise shark attacks is essentially a warning system. 37 electronic listening devices anchored in the water off popular beaches around the coast alert surf lifesavers every time a shark, fitted with a beeping tag, swims within range. The government has tagged about 2,000 sharks over the years, but nobody knows how many of those sharks are still alive or how many of the tags have simply fallen off. The main figure determining the effectiveness of this program, however, is what percentage of the total number of great white, tiger and bull sharks have been tagged. If it's a low percentage, as most fishermen say it is, then this system is pretty much useless because the majority of sharks can still lurk among swimmers and surfers undetected. More disturbingly, have tagged sharks been involved in attacks? Again, the government is circumspect about this. We know, however, that a tagged great white was detected at Foster Beach on the same day that surfer Mark Sanguinetti was killed at adjacent Tuncurry in May 2021. And a tagged shark was detected at Narrabeen 10 hours before Mercury Salakis was killed 2 kilometres away at DY in September this year. Another, or the same shark, was detected off nearby Manly 2 days later. These are just 2 examples where a more lethal mitigation strategy might have saved 2 lives. The ineffectiveness of the listening devices was confirmed in a report co-written by Darryl McPhee of Bond University for the New South Wales Government in 2022. The effectiveness of VR 4G tagged shark listening stations as a shark bite reduction system is not apparent. At most beaches where VR 4G shark listening stations were deployed, there were marginally fewer interactions compared with a similar period prior to their deployment. In the south region, there was actually an increase in interactions. The same report also found, however, that the smart drum lines were having a deterrent effect. On the state's north coast, there had been no interactions when the gear was operating, compared with 11 interactions within a similar period prior to the initial deployment. These smart drum lines, it should be pointed out, were not designed as a deterrent. Rather, they are meant to simply catch sharks so they can be tagged and released. Strange as it may seem, the revelation that the smart drum lines act as a deterrent bolsters the argument why the other mitigation strategy, nets, has also had a statistically high success rate in preventing attacks. And believe it or not, there is a simple, plausible explanation for it. Researchers aboard a shark cage diving boat at the Neptune Islands in South Australia in 2015 witnessed 2 orcas attack and kill a great white. This is a spot where 81% of the day trips for cage diving tourists successfully encounter great whites. But after this incident, the sharks stayed away for several weeks, to the point where the boat operators started to worry if their businesses could survive and lobbied the state government for permission to operate elsewhere. An almost identical incident involving orcas and great whites was witnessed by another group of scientists at the Farallon Islands off California in 1997, after which great whites also avoided the location for months. Well, you could say it was the orcas, which are higher up the food chain, that scared the great whites away. But it's arguably simpler than that. In a seminal book called Shark Attack by Sydney surgeon Victor Coppelson, published in 1958, a fisherman from Western Australia is quoted describing how he stopped large groups of sharks stealing his catch and generally menacing his boat. The most successful method we have found to deal with attacking sharks in Norwegian Bay is with a .303 rifle and soft-nosed ammunition. This method requires sharks to come to the surface, and a good headshot, or one towards the head from the dorsal fin, is usually enough to kill it. From our experience, dead sharks on the bottom are the best repellent available. Repeatedly, after shooting a number of sharks around our whale buoys, we have gone for periods of from 10 to 14 days without even seeing a shark in the bay. Graham Tapley in Port Lincoln, South Australia, has also witnessed the phenomenon. He says when he was fishing for gummy and school sharks, he never threw the heads and guts overboard at the same place he caught them, because if he did, the next time he tried to fish there, the sharks would be gone. He says the same applies to great whites.
If you see one swimming around in a popular surfing spot, well, yeah, take that one and maybe scientists to have a look at it and dissect it and find out what they can. But most importantly, take it back where they killed it and leave it there. And they won't come back for a long time. So you're only killing one shark, but you're probably saving human lives. So.
Well, that would require a level of pragmatism and common sense that's well beyond most current Australian politicians. Besides, as you've probably noticed by now, the reason sharks are being protected is not only to solve some environmental issue, legitimate or otherwise, they're also being protected because they are often seen as, how do I put this, supreme, even godlike creatures. The evidence of this is everywhere. In his 2009 book called Shark in Peril in the Sea, for example, Australian author David Owen says sharks have much to teach us about the art of survival. Well, they would if they knew how to talk or had fingers with which to type their survival tips into a computer. In this book, simply called Great White, published in 2014, fellow Australian author James Woodford recounts diving with great whites at the Neptune Islands in South Australia and says, the white sharks of the Neptune Islands call no man master. But we diminish ourselves if we pretend that we do not, as the sea and the land's two great predators share some kind of common bond of power. By the end of the book, Woodford has thrown off what few inhibitions he has about worshipping these giant beasts. A white shark is simply a wondrous thing, a work of art, he says. The great white shark, monarch of the oceans, a beautiful animal. An exhibition about sharks at the Australian Museum in Sydney in 2022 endowed sharks with the equivalent of university degrees, describing them as ecosystem engineers who keep different parts of the ecosystem in check by controlling the populations they prey. It's no surprise that this reverence for sharks is also felt among the people who work with them. Department of Primary Industries fisheries technician Alyssa Kanyasi said on Instagram earlier this year, "Every shark I tag fills me with the same excitement as the first one. There's always that sense of awe about these incredible animals." I could go on. Shark worship is ubiquitous these days. You honestly have to keep reminding yourself that sharks, especially great whites, are just dumb animals with more teeth than brains. In contrast to this, there's often a lack of compassion or charity for the victims of shark attacks. Every time there's an attack, posts about it on social media are flooded with comments like this one. "Dear humans, the ocean is not shark infested, it's life infested. It was our home long before it became your playground." A mere 10 days after Mercury Solarcus was killed, Greens politician Kate Fairman told State Parliament that his death was a tragic and unavoidable accident. She then went on to express greater concern not for Salakis's family and friends, but for the fish and other marine life accidentally killed in the nearby shark nets, and called for them to be removed.
No.
When 16-year-old Stella Berry was killed by a bull shark while swimming in the Swan River at Fremantle in 2023, state and local governments responded by banning the fishing of sharks. Bull sharks are now more common in the Swan than they've ever been. And this month, at the start of summer, the West Australian government issued a fresh warning to swimmers and surfers about great whites off Perth's beaches. You can't help thinking that this is part of the plan.
It is.
That the ultimate objective of these miserable shark huggers is to stop other people enjoying one of our island continent's
100%.
greatest assets,
100%.
its glorious coastline.
100%.
Few people outside surfing realise this, but South Australia has some of the best surf in the world.
Yep.
The locals have kept a lid on it, but for 50 years now, hardcore surfers have moved there to get away from crowds and immerse themselves in consistently world-class waves. Local legend Jeff Schmucker, who you can see here towing his son Josiah from a jet ski onto waves at 3 of the coastline's premier breaks, says surfing will, however, soon no longer be viable on the naturally wild and beautiful west coast of South Australia.
The impact of what's happening with sharks on the west coast of South Australia is going to affect this community from Port Lincoln through to Fowlers Bay in a financial way that's going to blow people out. It's going to cost millions because of lack of young people moving here, schools. You know, we have a lot of surfing community in Streaky Bay that recently have bought blocks for young people from all over Australia. And these blocks are coming up for sale. They're turning around and leaving because it is too dangerous to surf here anymore. The risk of being affected by the trauma of a shark attack or being involved in a shark attack, it's going through the roof.
Well, I mean, we've got waves here today. That's surfable out there. Granites is a great wave. There's no one out.
No, well, people have stopped surfing granites because of the 2 shark attacks are here at this location. But all the people that I know that have seen these attacks they're going to be seriously affected. And I can see it already with those kids. It's going to break their hearts, you know.
Do you think the government cares?
No.
I went to a Streaky Bay Business and Tourism Association meeting, and from that level to the federal government, they don't care.
No.
It's over. What can people don't understand about that? And after another 3 to 5 attacks, people will understand that it's over, and we'll eventually turn our backs on it and walk away from the ocean, which is sad.
Like me, you might have noticed that Australia is vastly different to what it was just a generation ago. We used to relish our freedom, our larrikin humour, and our enthusiasm for outdoor adventure. And this made our nation one of the most envied in the world. But joyless authoritarian busybodies have killed most of that. It's time we fought back. We must end the protection of stupid great white sharks. Install net lines at all popular beaches around...
Well, viewers, I wouldn't say stupid. I wouldn't call them stupid. That's a little bit unnecessary. Dangerous.
Outdoor adventure, and this made our nation one of the most envied in the world. But joyless authoritarian busybodies have killed most of that.
That's what's happening.
It's time we fought back. We must end the protection of stupid great white sharks. Install nets and drum lines at all popular beaches around the country and restart managed shark fisheries in every state to keep the numbers under control. After 10 years of covering this topic, I'm finally starting to get the feeling that the mood is shifting. People who once thought that dangerous sharks should be left alone are now starting to realise that making beaches safer with lethal deterrents will not cause widespread destruction of the marine environment, despite what the self-interested boffins say. The whole program to protect sharks was ill-considered from the start. It's time we got our priorities right again and returned to protecting humans instead.
And just as a reminder, viewers, to show you where it's up to, this is the latest on where these shark experts, they don't even swim in the ocean, have got us to. This is the new norm.
Well, Sydney's shark summer appears far from over this morning, with multiple alarms over the weekend forcing swimmers out of the water at several beaches around the city. That includes closures on the northern beaches at Palm Beach, Bungan Beach in Newport and Mona Vale, along with Manly and Balmoral on the harbour side, and South Maroubra in the city's east as well.
And it's left swimmers wondering, is this just the new normal? Well, for more, we're joined by Dr Chris Pepperneff, shark and public policy expert at the Uni of Sydney. Good morning to you.
Is this just the new normal? Oh, viewers, honestly, it is. This is the new normal, but it's not sanity.
It just feels like these shark alarms are not stopping. How long is this going to last?
So I think this is the new normal.
Really?
Also, I think this is a new normal. I'm going to leave it there, viewers. Good luck and all the best. Bye for now.